Okay, so point blank question. Is being attracted to the same sex a sin? Scenario, real simple. Let's say I'm a woman or I'm a guy, whatever. Let's just say I'm a guy and I am living in a heterosexual relationship with my wife. I'm married and I'm attracted to men and I've chosen not to live the homosexual life. I do not act on those temptations. I see a man and I say, wow, he's attractive. You know, in an old former day, that would have been a boyfriend or whatever. I mean, these are real questions. People might get uncomfortable. That's the deal. I say I'm not acting on it, and I'm going, nope, that's not who I am anymore. I don't act on those things, but gosh, he's attractive. Is that sin? Have I sinned by being attracted to the opposite sex, even if I don't act on it?
Same-sex attraction is sinful desire. Fallen desire is sin. Desire, even as Augustine had unpacked all those years ago, is the pre-behavioral component or aspect of sin. And so in the books, we go right back to the impulse itself, the desire itself. And a desire is not, it's either aimed towards a moral goal or an immoral goal. So it's not the intensity of the desire or the chosenness of the desire or the duration of the desire that dictates whether it's sinful or not. It's the morality of it, the end of the desire. Therefore, same-sex attraction, same-sex desire is always sinful, chosen or unchosen. And that's the heart of the matter, as Jesus unpacked in Matthew 5 for us, in terms of the lustful intent, or in order to lust for her. It's a heart issue. Jesus takes the 10 commandments. He takes the commandment of do not commit adultery, and he links it to the 10th commandment of covetousness. Goes to the heart of the matter, and the covetousness is sinful, whether a reflexive impulse or a premeditated impulse. This is what we get to in the book, and this is, Costi, absolutely key in understanding the doctrine of original sin, but also understanding how we slay sin at its root, and not just pulling out the head of the weed, if you like, but slaying it at its root. Then you can have real victory, and then you can apply that to all types of sin as well.
Yep. Is it a sin to be attracted to the opposite sex, which some would argue is God's natural order, right? A man will find women or the opposite sex attractive and needs to control the thought life in that regard. There's people that argue this and go, well, you could say just, normally and faithfully still without cheating on your wife or lusting in your heart, that is an attractive woman. But if someone said that's an attractive man and they were a man, is that sin? Isn't that the same thing? Help us navigate, and people listening navigate the difference. It's just, that's what people are thinking.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's a great question, Costi. It is fundamentally a sin to lust after any person who is not your spouse, of whatever type they are, whatever gender, whatever sex they are. It is not necessarily wrong to find someone, whether of your same sex or a different sex, an attractive person, or let's use the term beautiful. We know that the Bible lists out numerous individuals who are either handsome or beautiful. So we can recognize as believers that there's a category for this that is not necessarily wrong. On the other hand, we also have to recognize that we have sinful hearts. And so we're frequently going to have a mingling of interest that is not wrong. And then also our heart changing that, translating that into lustful desire. How often does this happen for all of us? It's not that in every instance when we see somebody who is an attractive person, that becomes lustful. I'm not making that case, but it is the case for many of us that, an image pops up online. Let's say we're not searching out pornography. Okay, we're searching about, I don't know, coal mining patterns in Colorado, okay, or the latest results from Wimbledon or something like this, from things that actually used to happen in the known world.
Yeah.
And an image pops up that we were truly, I'm being genuine, we're not seeking out. Well, I would say that sometimes we probably dismiss that, ignore it, and we do not grant it any power. There's no pull in our heart toward it in a lustful way. But sometimes. Other times, sadly, even though it's quick, we feel a pulse. We feel a pull of lust. And that's a moment, what Gavin and I are saying is, that is a moment, when it's homosexual, certainly in all cases, for repentance. And that is a moment when it's heterosexual, to use those terms. We work with those terms to some degree in the books. That's a moment of repentance if that person is not our spouse. So there is a category, however, where a boy or a girl can be interested in the opposite sex. We call this complementary interest. We actually work all this out in our first book, What Does the Bible Teach About Lust? And so we have teenagers, you know, being able to understand that the opposite sex is made by God. And then as they develop, they're oriented toward marriage and they want marriage. We're making plain that's a good desire. That's a creational desire. That's given by the Lord. On the other hand, you always have to be careful with even good desires in a fallen world with a fallen heart.